Hi, this is Kim with Mom's Creative Moments, and I am welcoming you back to my channel to do a project recipe today. We're going to do the project recipe for a brand new collection that just came out this year called Serenity. And this one is meant to give you kind of very relaxing, chill, kind of spa-like vibes. All the colors are very muted and very subdued tones, and so it's just meant to be a very relaxing. Yeah, even the stickers and everything associated with this collection have to do with calm and relaxation and Zen type moments. So let's check out what's on my desktop and get started. Okay, here's my desktop, and I have the project recipe out right here. I also have my border maker, my Creative Memories border maker system is out. We're going to use this new border maker cartridge that just came out with this collection. It looks a little bit like the filigree that you might see on a fancy door, and it's called the Ancient Keychain. And so this is what this is the design that came out with Serenity, and we're going to be using that today to make this project recipe. I have repositionable adhesive, I have permanent adhesive. You're going to need both of those, and probably some scissors, and you're going to need a sheet of cardstock, 2 pieces of designer paper for your base. These 2 pieces are a part of the Fast to Fab paper that goes along with this collection. Not every collection gets Fast to Fab paper, but this one did. And then I have 2 pieces of designer paper that we're going to use as these cool shutters that go down either side on borders. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to take my base pages and move them out of the way because we're not going to need them for a couple of minutes, for a hot minute, as my 17-year-old would say. And the first thing I'm going to have you do is go ahead and cut your cardstock. So let's move this. I'm just going to rearrange my desktop just a little bit here real quick. I'm going to move this over here and grab my 12-inch trimmer, which is off to the side right here in its little house. Alright, so we're going to divide this piece of cardstock into 4 equal pieces. So we need 4 of them cut at 3 by 12. So just go ahead and measure 3 inches and cut. 3 more inches and cut. By the way, the project recipe actually calls for a piece of white cardstock. I'm going with a dark colored cardstock because the pieces of paper that I'm putting on top of it are much lighter, and so I want to be able to see the difference. I want to be able to notice the difference. So that's why I went with something darker, just to see how it turns out. My other version of this, I used kind of the lighter gray. This is the charcoal gray, I want to say. No, alabaster. Alabaster? Hang on. I can tell you. Oh, come here. Yeah, alabaster. This is the alabaster gray, which I feel is kind of a blue gray, and it works really well with these papers. So these 2 designer sheets we're going to cut almost exactly the same way. Not the same way as the cardstock, but both of these will be cut the same way. So first we're going to go ahead and cut, let's see, I'm going to use this one as my designer paper number 1, and the first thing I'm going to do is cut 2 pieces at 5/8 of an inch. So 5/8 of an inch is just a little bit more than a half, but not as far as 3/4. It's that even mark between half and 3/4. Okay, so 5/8 and 5/8. Okay. Then I'm going to cut 2 pieces that are going to be 6.5 inches. So I'm going to need my arm out, and we're going to measure 6.5 inches on the left here. Okay. 6.5 inches. Then I'm going to turn this piece, and we're going to cut 2 at 4.5. We're making 2 mats. You'll recognize that dimension, especially if you have the 12-inch trimmer, because you'll see that corner right here, 4.5 by 6.5. That's on there for a reason. It's a popular measurement for us. So CM went ahead and marked it on our grid to make it just a little bit easier to find. All right, so we've got those. Then I'm going to punch and cut this, but I'm going to hold off on that until I've got this other page ready to go. This one I'm going to cut 6.5 inches and make 2 mats. So we're going to go 6.5, turn it again and measure at 4.5. 4.5, and then another one at 4.5. Okay, and then we're going to take both of these pieces and we're going to punch and cut. So don't put your trimmer too far away. We're going to grab our border maker. And if you're not familiar with the border maker, a really quick tutorial on that, there's a guide on the bottom that you pop out and lock into place that holds your paper. So we're going to slide that in there, lock it down with that magnet that's under the blue bar, and then we can slide this along and punch and cut, or punch it, and then we're going to trim it off of this larger sheet. Okay, so we've got this one. We're going to do the same thing with this one. So I'm putting both of those in there. I'm going to take and punch all the way down. Okay. That out. Now the directions actually say that by the way, these are really cute, but I'm just not, I would not use them on anything. I know myself, so I'm going to get rid of them. But if you like to save every last little piece of scrap that you have, these are really fun and would make some really cute decorations on your page. So just keep that in mind. Sometimes the negative punch part of a punch is the cool part, or a coolest part. Okay, the directions actually say to go ahead and cut this piece at 1 1/8, but I am first of all going to trim this. So you have a fairly wide border on this side. I'm going to trim that about halfway. And what that amounts to is I'm lining up the edge of my paper with the right hand dotted line on my mat, on my cutting mat, and just trimming off just a little bit of the excess. Alright, so I've already done this layout before, and what I found is that this does not fit where you need it to fit if you don't trim that little bit. Okay, so then you're going to put the very edge of your paper at the 1-inch mark, and you're going to trim down that edge, and then you have an even distance between or on either side of your border that you punch. Alright, so let's go ahead and jump back over here. Gonna line this up again with my right hand dotted cutting line. That's where the edge of my paper is going. Then I'm going to very slowly, because you don't want your paper to move, and it will want to move, like mine just wanted to. Very, very slowly so that you get everything cut. See, I had to lift mine up, and so it didn't quite cut through right there. Oh my goodness. I'm having technical difficulties all over the place all of a sudden. Oh, that's a sticker that I decided I'm going to use. I pulled it off ahead of time so that I would not forget that's the one I want. And of course I popped it right off of my holding area. Then it decided it wanted to get stuck to my trimmer. Alright, so now we're going to slide this over again to the 1-inch mark and go ahead and cut slowly down the left side. Okay, so there's our 2. Now we could turn one of these over and use the other side. We'll just have to kind of check that. Okay, now we need a piece that is 3 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and trim this particular piece to 3 inches, 3 by 12. Okay, that's just extra, so it gets set aside. And I'm going to make sure that this piece is 3 inches wide by 12 inches long. And we're a little bit over, so we're just going to trim it up. There we go. Okay, now we're going to punch both sides of this particular piece, or both of these pieces. This is going to take a minute, so I will fast forward it for you so you don't have to watch the whole thing, okay? Or you can watch it, it'll just be sped up. Alright, so we're done punching, and I'm going to just take a quick second and put this away so it's out of my work space. I'm going to grab our cardstock and just take a look here and see which way I like this better. So the idea is that you take the one and you take the other, and it's going to go down the middle between the two. Okay, so just like that. Or, oh, and then the other one would be the flowers with the white going down the middle. Okay, or what we could do is we could flip this over and make it green and make this white going down the middle, that white marbly paper, or we could flip this over and make it brown. Let's see what's on the back of, so on the back of this marble paper is the brown paper, which we could do with the flowers down the middle. So lots of different versions we could do with just these 2 pieces of paper and the gray underneath. So let's see. I think maybe I like that one the best. The green with the flowers. which would mean this is, oh, we can't do the green with the flowers because the green has the flowers on it. So that's not going to work. Originally, this is what I was going to do. White with the flowers as an accent. So maybe we'll just go back to that. Flowers and the white down the middle. Kind of hard to tell the difference between any of those, isn't it? Oh, that's okay. All right, so first what I'm going to do is go ahead and use my repositionable adhesive to adhere this center piece down the middle. Let me just warn you before you get too excited, don't put too much pressure. This design will rip your designer paper if you put too much pressure on your adhesive as you pull it across. So very light strokes and you'll be okay. All right? Very light strokes. Let your adhesive just roll right off and you'll be good to go. Then we're just going to center it at one end and guide it down to the other end, keeping it centered. Okay, so just like that. Then we're going to flip that over and use our repositionable adhesive to lightly add some adhesive down the outside edge. Maybe a little bit in the middle, like so. Then this goes right over top of our gray, or our it's not gray. What did I say it was? It's the fancy word for dark gray. I have to look. Alabaster. This is alabaster gray. Fancy. Okay. So there's one of our borders. Now we're going to do the other one. Okay. There we go. Now I'm just going to add some adhesive down the back. Then we'll get this put right on top of this piece. Okay, now we're ready to go ahead and assemble our main pages. Now, when you're working with the Fast to Fabulous page, you already have some design work on the page. As you can see, we've got, this is all printed, pre-printed on the page. So, so your layout is not going to be exactly the same as it might be otherwise, because you just can't do things exactly the same way. But I'm going to go ahead and put my cardstock right above the printed area that's already on my page, right here. okay? And I'm going to, let's see here, I'm trying to remember the order that this goes in. Okay, so then this piece right here is going to go on, and I can make this be the matching side for the flowers, or I can flip it over and make it the green side because it still matches. It picks up the green in the print that's on there, and that actually might be a really nice change, or indicator on here on the page. So we'll have to think about that. Let's lay it on here in green, and then we'll see how we want to do it. This piece is going to be about a 1/2 inch from that edge. Whoops, I've got both of them in my hand. That's not going to work. Okay, so about a 1/2 inch from the left hand edge on this left page. That's going to go down. Then we're going to have oh, I forgot something. My goodness. I knew it didn't quite look right to me. Okay, so these two pieces that we've put together, these borders, we now need to cut these into sections that are 3 inches. Okay, so 3 inches. There'll be 3-inch squares, essentially, and then we're going to alternate them. So I just stacked them together and lining them up at the 3-inch mark. I'm going to make sure that I'm cutting between my punches. Okay, so if your punch is at all close, just go ahead and move it so that it's in between the punches. You don't want to cut through those punches. So 3 inches, 3 inches, and 3 inches. Okay, there we go. Gosh, sorry about that. I knew something wasn't coming together quite right. It shouldn't have been that easy. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take one and put it down, and then we're going to take the alternate one and put it down. And for me, you can already tell that these are going to be hard to identify, so I'm going to have to be really careful and make sure that I have them in the right order as I add them to my pages. So then white, and then flower. Okay, so I know it's hard to tell because my colors are very much the same, but we've got the white marble base at the top, and the flower base, and then the white marble base, and then the flower base. Okay, and then you're going to use your mats that you created, and the mat that goes on top is going to match the base of the very top one. So for me, that means it's the marble paper, and then the flower base is going to go this way, and then another picture can be placed here. Okay, so let me go ahead and grab my adhesive. The first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and put this border piece and my cardstock down where they need to go. Scooting all that up. So the cardstock's going to be the first thing down. Did you notice how I flipped the cardstock over? It's such a habit to go ahead and flip over my paper. It's the same on both sides. It doesn't need to be flipped over, but you know, that's just how I roll, I guess. I'm going to go ahead and put this all the way down to the straight line at the top of that design that's pre-printed on this paper, just because I feel like it's going to look a little bit cleaner that way. And I'm going to add this. And I'm going to put this about 1/8 of an inch up from that line. So like so. Okay, then I'm going to take my border squares that we've made, and if you really wanted to be fancy, you could turn one or both, then it would definitely change the look. Maybe that's what I'll do, just to see how that changes the look, since mine are so very similar. We'll do every other one going horizontal and every other one going vertical. And we'll just see how that comes together. I actually kind of like that because of the fact that mine are so much alike. This provides a little bit more differentiation between them. And you know what? I'm going to turn that around because it's kind of going off the edge up there. So that'll need to be trimmed, but that'll be okay. Alright, now I'm just going to go ahead and stick these mats on with repositionable adhesive because I don't know yet exactly what photos are going to go on these pages for me. So the repositionable will allow me to take my mat off if I need to and change its orientation in case I need 2 vertical photos or 2 horizontal photos, or you know, just them in a different order. Okay, so there's our first page. Now we're going to switch over and take care of this page, and I'll go ahead and speed the video up for you so you don't have to watch me put together the second one, because it's basically a mirror image. Alright, so these mats are going to go in roughly the same place on both sides. So I've got mine about 1/2 inch from the top and centered between the center border and the side border. Then these are roughly 1/4 inch from the border on top and the center and the bottom. Alright, and then like I said, another picture can go here, another picture can go here, or you can put a journal box there. Whatever makes you happy would be great. Okay, so there's our two pages without embellishments. Now I'm going to go ahead and put together some embellishment clusters for you. Do my best anyway. Now this actual layout, you might be able to tell if you look at the picture. And let me just refocus it so you can see better. Can you see this line right here? That's actually a 12-inch sticker that's part of part of your sticker pack, and it goes right over top of your photo according to the instructions for this project recipe. So if you want to do that, then you'll need to wait to place that until you put your photos on, or you can go ahead and put it down underneath your mat that goes here and here, and then you just won't worry about it. I actually have this particular sticker already pre-printed on my paper, so let me refocus that for you. But you'll notice the same design is already pre-printed on this particular base page, so I'm not too worried about that at this point. I may go ahead and put the sticker over top, or I may not. We'll just have to kind of see. But in the meantime, I do want to put a couple of sticker clusters together. I'm going to use this large plant right here, and I'm going to use, they've used the scented candle here and the small flower. I think that's a really good choice, but I think I'm going to go ahead and use one of these. I guess this is a lotus flower? I'm not sure. It's an emblem of relaxation. And so I'm going to go ahead and put that on. With some foam squares to give it some dimension. We'll put that, add that right here, and then add one other thing. What else should we add? Maybe the blue. Maybe this little blue band would be cute to add. Ooh, I'm going to have to use my tweezers. Hang on. Okay. This is very, very tiny. And I have long nails, but it's very, very tiny. Okay, so I'm just going to place that right along the top of the pot for my flower, just to give it a little bit of color right in there. And it'll pick up the darker gray. Okay, so I'm going to put this right in here, but far enough to the side where I can place a picture in here and it's not going to be hindered by the sticker. Okay, so there's one. Then I'm going to go ahead and use this Take Time to Soak in the Beautiful Moments. And we're going to use just some greenery and a flower. I'm going to pull in this dark gray. So the question is, where are we going to put it? Let me take a look here and see. This is probably going to go more like right here. And just going to use that as kind of a background. I don't really like the way that goes together. That's so funny. Okay, let's see. Maybe green like that. Maybe we'll pop the flower up. That'll make it a little bit better. Okay, so I'm just going to put this right here in the middle. And then I'm going to go ahead and add the flower using a foam square. It's a tiny little foam square for a fairly large flower, but that's okay. It should be all right. We'll just do kind of like that. And then the other one I had chosen was this one that says Serenity, the state of being calm, peaceful, and untroubled. We all want to be like that, right? Calm, peaceful, and untroubled. And I'm going to go ahead and use this other piece of green and probably another flower sticker just to kind of keep things in the same ballpark. Oh, you know what? Oh, can I do it? Let's get this one up. Let's use this other cute little lotus flower over on this page, and we'll add this one to this. Okay. Quick foam square. We'll add this little guy right in here. And this one is going to go this one I'm going to pop up with some foam squares on the inside so that I can slide a picture underneath and not stress about it sticking. So have I showed you how I do that before? So these 3 foam squares I just placed on here, and I'm going to add another small one over here and another small one on this end just to keep that from sinking. Then I'm going to add another big foam square out here, but I'm not going to take the other side of the sticky off, so that way it still stays popped up, but it's not adhered to the mat that's now on the page. I'm going to scoot this over just a smidgen. Smidgen? Is that a word? A smidgen. And then we'll put this right in here. Oh, I've got to scoot that over just a little so that my flower is not off the page. Okay, there we go. So now I can slide something underneath there, but it's still going to stay popped up. All right. I think we are good to go with this one, ladies and gentlemen. And there we go. Serenity. Does it make you feel peaceful? Remind you of a spa? Kind of, yeah. Muted colors. I hope you enjoyed putting this together with me today, or watching me do it, so that you can get some ideas for your own pages in your album. And I hope you'll join me next time. Until next time, I hope you have many more creative moments. Thanks so much. You have a great day.